smart.
Come to me, all you who labor and are overburdened, and I will give you rest. Shoulder my yoke and learn from me. This is a great invitation that Jesus gives each and every one of us as Christians, knowing that all of us have burdens that we are carrying, knowing that all of us have difficulties that we are going through, and He makes Himself as a refuge for all of us who are burden bearers. I always want to talk about yokes because yoke is something that is very strong. It has a very strong biblical symbol, and which Jesus uses in the gospel of today. Shoulder my yoke. He talks about his own yoke because there are other yokes that do not belong to him, yokes that enslave us. And like I said many times, that a yoke is always symbolic of slavery, of captivity, of being unfree, of being bent over. And it's not a very good biblical symbol. So there are yokes upon us. One way or another, we carry yokes. And the yokes can either be placed on us by the devil himself. How? In John's Gospel, chapter 8, verse 44, it says that the devil is the father of lies. He's a liar, the father of all lies. Just recently, I was reflecting on that particular line about the devil being the father of lies. And you know what? Somehow, we get involved in repetitive sin because we believe in the lies of the devil. So the devil tells you, if you do this, you're going to find some joy. You do it, and then you realize you get more frustrated than finding joy. But then he tells you the same thing tomorrow, and you repeat it. So it means somehow we believe in the lies of the devil. This is the same thing that the devil did, especially at the temptation of Jesus, saying to him, if you worship me, I'm going to give you all of these things. I'm going to give you all the kingdoms of the world. And Jesus replies, no, worship only the Lord my God. These are the lies of the devil. And when we believe in the lies of the devil, then we become slaves of his. We begin to carry his own yoke, the yoke of the devil. So that is the first yoke that is placed on us, on the devil. And then once we begin to listen to the lies, we get engulfed in our own addictions. We get engulfed in our own sinfulness, and it becomes so difficult to come out of it, especially when we are under his yoke. Secondly, we can be under the yokes of other people or the world, if you want to put it that way. When we begin to believe in what people say about us, rather than what God says about us. Now, especially with the social media now, it's a very strong thing, and it has led a lot of young people into depression. It has led a lot of young people into getting involved in things that they never thought it would happen. Especially like even on Facebook, ordinary Facebook. How young people get affected by the comments that they receive from people that they do not even know. And that begins to determine the way we behave, the moods that we find ourselves in, and even our mental health gets determined by what people are saying about us. Not only on social media, but even physically. When we're in a group and people start gossiping and saying things about us, and then we begin to believe those things, what happens is that we begin to carry the yokes that have been placed on us by these people. Secondly, you find now the world presents us with something, like the easier way is the best way. So one click away, you get whatever thing you want. And we feel that is, once we get these things made easier, AI has come now and is making things even more easier. We feel that it's actually making things easy, but it's making us trying to cope with the fast-growing world and technology. that somehow we feel the burden, we feel the obligation to try to cope with the fast growing technology. And therefore, we find ourselves walking even more than we would be walking many years ago. I just think about our parents who never had cell phones. Okay, we say cell phones make things much easier, and that the social media makes things easier. AI is making things even more easier. But think of our parents who never had cell phones, who lived in a village, just trees, going to the farm every morning, come back, prepare food, go to fetch wood, fetch water, and do just ordinary things. And you see, this concept of depression was never there, because life was very simple. Now the world tries to make us to know that there is something called technology that could make life even much easier. And it's true, it makes things much easier, but also we can become slaves of technology, and it becomes a yoke over our lives. Thirdly, would be the yoke that we place on ourselves through our sinfulness and through our own addictions. And most of these would come from two things: pride, when I make myself the center of everything, and unforgiveness, when I decide that I would never forgive him. Somebody has done something to me and I seal it in my heart. Some people would say, over my dead body will I ever forgive this person. In fact, when you say that, you have already placed a yoke upon your life. And for pride, we become the center of ourselves, we become the center of everything. That can become also a yoke upon our lives. Think about the Pharisees. For them, life was about them, and that became a yoke upon their lives. But then today's gospel is a great invitation for us, because by ourselves we cannot take off all these yokes. The yokes that are placed on us by the devil, it's impossible for us to get over it. The yoke that is placed on us by people, social media, the world today, the yoke that is placed on us by ourselves, Jesus says, come to me, because by ourselves we cannot overcome them. Come to me, all you who labor and are overburdened. Overburdened with what? With the yokes. And he says, shoulder my own yoke. What is the yoke of God? The yoke of forgiveness, the yoke of love, the yoke of humility. For I am meek and gentle of heart. And I think this is an invitation for us that we could honor this invitation or reject it. To say, yes, I want to receive this, Lord, or reject it. And God has offered us this opportunity to undo these yokes through the sacraments of confession, through adoration, through the prayers that we make every day. But we must make sure that we honor this invitation, because I just was reading the book of Deuteronomy the other time, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 47 and 48, and it said that if you refuse to honor the commandments of God, which is the yoke of God, then you'll be bound to honor the yoke of the enemy, and the enemy would place a yoke of iron on your shoulders, meaning that the yoke will be much heavier than you think. If we continue to dwell with these yokes, then it becomes heavier and heavier and heavier all the time. And that's why Jesus offers us this opportunity. Come to me, all you who labor and are overburdened with these yokes, and I will give you rest. It's only me who can take it away from you. And therefore, it is an invitation for us, through the intercession of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, who accompanies us all the time, who helps us and brings us to her Son Jesus Christ, that she would accompany us, especially this day. And as we honor this invitation of Jesus to come to him, may we truly come to him, because it is in him that we find true freedom and true love.
Kiss us, mother, kiss your children. Bring God's blessings from above. With your mantle blue enfold us in your gentle holy love. See the darkness dissipating, hear the trumpet echoing, Satan's rage